We get this question all the time. How do we take some super complex research or a dense philosophical text and turn it into a clear 5-minute explainer? Well, today, we're actually going to pull back the curtain. We're showing you the exact blueprint, a masterclass on how to explain literally anything. I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you're giving a presentation at work or you're just trying to explain something you love to a friend, you're always facing this problem. How do you take this mountain of information and boil it down to something that's clear, compelling, and actually makes sense without, losing all the important details? So we've broken it all down into a really simple 3-act structure. First up, Act 1, we're going to set the stage, because context is king. Then, in Act 2, we'll go way beyond the surface with the deep dive. And finally, in Act 3, we're going to show you how to make it all matter today. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a practical toolkit you can start using right away. Okay, let's just dive right into Act 1, which is all about setting the stage. And honestly, this is the most important step. And it's the one people skip all the time. Because here's the secret. No idea, it doesn't matter how brilliant it is, ever just appears out of thin air. So before you can even think about explaining the what of an idea, you've got to establish the why. You have to place it. Any great explanation always starts by answering these 4 questions. What was going on in the world at the time? What was the one problem this thinker was just obsessed with solving? What did everybody else believe? And only then, after all that, can you ask, what was their single big argument? This right here frames it perfectly. Ideas aren't just these isolated things that pop up. They're responses. Think about it like this. Every great idea is part of a huge, ongoing conversation. And to really get it, you have to know who the author was talking to or who they were arguing with. That context, it's everything. Okay, so moving on to Act 2. Once you've set that stage properly, it's time to go deep. It's time to get beyond the popular summary. The simple version everyone thinks they know, and really dig into what was actually said. So what's the difference between just summarizing something and truly analyzing it? Well, it's the difference between knowing what someone concluded and understanding how and why they got there. A summary, it just tells you the destination. A real deep dive, that gives you the map. It shows you the engine, the whole architecture of the journey. A real deep dive is an active thing. You gotta be like an intellectual mechanic. You're taking apart the argument's logic. You're spotting the brand new concepts or words the author literally had to invent. And this part is absolutely crucial. You have to honestly address the strongest criticisms against the idea. This isn't about being a cheerleader. It's about real understanding. And this just nails the point, doesn't it? You have to go to the source material itself. Because that popular bumper sticker version of a big idea, it's almost always a distortion. A really great explanation brings the audience back to the real thing, which, let's be honest, is usually way more interesting anyway. And that brings us to our final act. So we've set the context, we've done the deep dive, but really none of that matters unless we can answer the one question every single person in your audience is thinking. So what? Why should I care? You see, a truly great idea isn't just some dusty historical artifact. It sends out ripples through time. It ends up influencing other thinkers. It sparks entire movements. It can even create brand new fields of study. A powerful explanation follows those ripples and shows you where they lead. This is exactly how you make an old idea feel totally urgent and alive right now. You trace its DNA to see how it shows up in modern life. You connect those abstract concepts to real, concrete examples we can all relate to. And here's a great little trick. You can end with a thought experiment. You push the idea to its absolute limits just to see what it's really made of. All right, so we've journeyed through the 3 acts of a masterful explanation. We went from context to content to connection. Now, let's pull all of that together into a simple, really powerful toolkit that you can start using like today. See, it really just boils down to this super elegant 3-step framework. First, you place the idea in its proper context. Then, you analyze the argument itself, going way deeper than a simple summary. And finally, you connect it to our world to show its lasting impact. Place, analyze, connect. That's it. That's the heart of any amazing explanation. So there you have it. The blueprint is all yours. This is how you can take any subject that you're passionate about, no matter how complicated it seems, and make it clear, compelling, and memorable for anyone. Now that you've got the tools, there's really only one question left. What's the first big idea you're going to tackle? This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.